But now we really do have another highlight that gives me the high honor to introduce His Excellency Ambassador Peter Wittig of the Federal Republic of Germany. He will receive, on behalf of his country and its diplomatic corps in the United States, the World Affairs Council of D.C.'s 2015 Distinguished Diplomatic Service Award. I just want to say a few words about our alliance with Germany and then about the ambassador himself, but it'll be just short, at least about you, Ambassador, but I think it'll be poignant. Most of us, maybe you're too young, Edie, but most of us baby boomers, Michael, Bob, I don't know, Ray LaHood, you probably remember, there was an iconic moment back in 1963 in Berlin when a young Irish president, Tony, John Kennedy, enthralled Germans and made Americans so proud when he said, "Ich bin ein Berliner." And the Berlin Wall, in fact, fell in 1989. And when that happened, Americans were some of the very earliest backers of reunification. A breakthrough came in May of 1990 when Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev visited George H.W. Bush and reiterated, in the context of a NATO membership, that the Germans must decide for themselves. And so a very few months later, Germany was in fact reunified. And today, German Chancellor Angela Merkel is a preeminent global leader. She leads the West, and well, she deserves applause. Report that back to her, Chancellor, too, if you would, Ambassador. You can tell her she got a standing ovation because she deserves it. But she leads the West in dealing with Moscow on the Russian-Ukrainian crisis and the Eurozone in defining the future of the common currency. The largest U.S. military hospital abroad is in Landstuhl in Germany. I've visited it many times. It's a wonderful hospital, and yet it is the first stop for so many thousands of American troops wounded in Afghanistan. But they are always embraced when they come to Landstuhl. Germany provides generous humanitarian aid throughout the world, including aid to Kurdistan, and now trains its Peshmerga to defend against ISIS or Daesh, as it should pejoratively be referred to. Germany is a critical partner in the P5+1 nuclear talks with Iran. We rely upon Germany. It's a stalwart member of the United Nations. It's the third largest contributor to the UN budget. The General Assembly of the UN recently elected Germany as a member of the UN Security Council, and that's where Ambassador Wittig ably represented his country prior to taking up his post in Washington, D.C. Looking ahead, the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, which the EU and the United States are negotiating, is a high priority for Germany, as it is for the United States. TTIP, as it's called, it will open up huge economic opportunities. Now, I just want to say a little personal word about the ambassador. If you were to envision an ideal ambassador, you would want somebody who was brilliant, well-read, hardworking, but you'd also want someone with savoir-faire and charm. And it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to be an all-around good person. Well, Peter Wittig is above all a family man who also treasures the book salon that he holds each month with members of the D.C. community. He used to run marathons but after wearing out his knees, I understand now he swims every morning. The point is, we want him to be around for a long, long time because he's the quintessential ambassador of a great ally and a very good friend. Ambassador Wittig, we want to give you now a warm welcome as you receive, on behalf of your nation's diplomatic corps in the United States, the 2015 Distinguished Diplomatic Service Award. Ambassador.
Dear Edie, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished fellow honorees, and thank you, Congressman Moran, for those really kind and flattering words. I really enjoyed meeting you. We had such a wonderful conversation in my residence. It's great to be here at this wonderful gala. What a pleasure and what a privilege for me. And I feel even more uplifted after having seen the video because it reminded me of the World Cup soccer win of last year, and we can't just be reminded enough of it. I feel deeply honored to accept this distinguished award on behalf of my country and my entire staff at the embassy. I still consider myself to be a newcomer in DC. I'm here for a year now as ambassador to the United States, although I have spent 8 years of my diplomatic life in the US, and even before that as a student, I backpacked across the country, taking the Greyhound train from Boston to San Francisco, and over the years I came to love this country and its people. And that is why, after such a short time, I feel completely at home in this great city of Washington. My entire family as well. My kids go to American schools. They're totally Americanized by now, and it will be a great moment when I come home and show my photo with Magic Johnson. I will rise as a father here. So thank you again for that wonderful award. Ladies and gentlemen, this recognition is first and foremost, I believe, a symbol of the close friendship between our two countries. Last fall, in November, we celebrated and commemorated the 25th anniversary of the fall of the wall. And this year we commemorate the 25th anniversary of unification of my country. And at these, thank you. And in these decisive moments in history, the United States was at our side, helping to make our dream of freedom and unity a reality. And we have never and will never forget what the United States did for us, and we're really grateful to all of you, the Americans, for what you did for us. There was a time over the past years when the two sides of the Atlantic seemed to be drifting apart, but the turmoil that the world saw in 2014 has been a wake-up call. It is against the backdrop of the Ukraine crisis and the threat posed by ISIL, the so-called Islamic State, that we are reminded of the greatest asset we have, our unity and our strong transatlantic bond. Only if we stand united can we cope with the challenges facing the world in 2015 and the current threat to our common liberal international order. So I couldn't agree more with the Secretary Kerry when he, a couple of months ago, called for a transatlantic renaissance. We are ready to play our part in this endeavor, but we will continue to need American leadership in order for it to be successful. Ladies and gentlemen, good government-to-government relations are indeed important. However, it is the people-to-people level that provides the real basis for a lasting friendship. Take Germany and the United States as an example. After World War II, the United States initiated various exchange programs for the young people of our two countries. Did you know, for instance, that more than 4 times as many American students have participated over the years in a Fulbright exchange with Germany than with any other country in the program? I'm convinced that these face-to-face contacts have contributed and will contribute immensely to German-American friendship. Mutual understanding is key to overcoming our differences and forging long-lasting ties. This is why we need global exchange, and this is why international education matters, and this is why the efforts of the World Affairs Council are so important. Ladies and gentlemen, before I close, let me share with you a piece of news that might become a major milestone in our bilateral educational exchange. Last Friday, Germany and the United States have signed a joint declaration on cooperation in career and technical education and training. And we signed, and we worked on this with Secretary of Commerce Pritzker, and we signed a declaration. And this declaration will serve as the basis for spreading best practice in workforce skills development, an issue that so far has not been in the focus of the international education community, but which is of a major importance to economic growth and investment. And above all, it will benefit young people. It will create jobs. Vocational training and technical education create the skills and opportunities that we need both as individuals and as a society. It's an area where Germany and the United States can and should learn from each other. So in this spirit, I would like to encourage you all to continue your good work in promoting international education and exchange. Distinguished members of the board, let me thank you once again for honoring our close ties with this distinguished award. Let me assure you, it will be both a reminder of your friendship and an inspiration for my tenure as German ambassador to the United States. And I particularly thank you for the applause that you gave for Chancellor Merkel. I will relay that to her, and she will be grateful. Thank you.